So the green team got to listen to this.
Yeah.
I'm a Kiwi. I was brought up in South Auckland, but for the last 12 years I've been in Australia. And over there I was working up at a place called Townsville, which is in the far north of Queensland. And I reckon I had probably the best job in the world, because I was working on coral reefs and diving all over northern Australia. But then I got a little bit homesick. I was missing my whānau. But more importantly than that, I thought there was things I could be better doing here in this country for marine science, and the sort of stuff I do is looking for useful chemicals out of the sea, new drugs and stuff like that. And I felt like I really wanted to do that here. And there were a few jobs coming up, but then one just happened to strike my interest a few years ago, and it was the job that I've got now, and it was here. And as soon as I started to look at the bay, I suddenly thought, God, this is a fantastic place. And in my previous life, before going to Australia, I lived in and worked all around New Zealand. Probably dived almost everywhere, but never really looked at this part of this country, nor this part of the planet. And when I started to add it all up, everything was here. You know, I'm a marine biologist, and so when you're looking at the things in the sea, you're looking at beaches. I like surfing as well. Not much surf in Townsville because the blooming coral reef gets in the way. But here there's surf, you've got sandy beaches, you've got rocky reefs, which I really like. And best of all, there's an active volcano right smack bang in the middle of it. So to me, it was fantastic. Also, I looked at the sort of the communities here, and I thought this is really a place I'd like to go to, because it looked to me like this region was really exciting. You know, it wanted to get on and do stuff for the country, much more so than other parts that I've been in this country. So all of those things all together attracted me here, and now I really do have the best job in the world.
Cool, thanks. Michelle, what did you choose to say?
Okay, well, I didn't actually choose to come to the Bay of Plenty. I just kind of ended up here. So I grew up in Wellington, and then I studied at Waikato University in Hamilton. When I was at university, my family moved to Christchurch, so after I graduated, I couldn't find a job. You know, it was sort of really difficult to find jobs at that time, and so I went down to Christchurch and lived with my family for a few months. And then I decided to go to South Korea, and I went there to teach English, and I was living out in the middle of nowhere in South Korea, and the countryside with just rice fields around me and no other foreigners. Had to learn to speak Korean so that I could actually speak to people. And yeah, so it was in South Korea, and then I was thinking about coming back to New Zealand, and I thought, oh, I really should you know, start doing some groundwork and try and think about what I'm going to do when I get back. So, you know, people have said to me, oh, you know, it's not about what you know, it's about who you know when you're looking for a job, right? So I thought, okay, I'm going to go out to my network. So I put together my CV, sent it out to all my friends, everyone who I knew. I said, look, I'm looking for a job. At uni I studied international business and Japanese. So I said, look, this is my background, I'm looking for a job. You know, in these sort of areas, can you pass it on to anyone who you might know who might, you know, want to employ me? And then one of my friends who was working here for Becky Engineering, he passed it on to Greg Simmons, who's now my boss, and said, you know, do you know anyone who might have a job for Michelle? And so he said, oh, actually we're kind of looking for someone and with a business background, and come in for an interview when you get back to New Zealand. So I came to Tauranga. I'd only been here a couple of times before in my life, so never thought I'd ever end up here. But yeah, I got the job, so I decided to move here. And what I love about Tauranga is the lifestyle. So I noticed when I came here, compared to other places, it's really active. Everyone's out and about doing things, you know, in the summer, in the evenings, everyone's bike riding or running, you know, along by the beach and surfing and that sort of thing. It's close to other cities, so I still have quite a few friends in Hamilton from university and in Auckland, so I can travel there on weekends and go and see them. It's also, I think, compared compared to other cities, say for example Auckland or Wellington, working for government or in like big businesses, often, if you've just graduated, you have to start at the bottom and work your way up. But in Tauranga, it's a bit less kind of centralised. So, it means that, you can have more opportunities and more responsibility first, when you've first graduated, or if you're working for a smaller business. So I think that was kind of, a really good opportunity to develop your career quicker as well, in some ways. So.
Good, thanks.
Okay, so I was born in Sydney and I grew up most of my life there. I was trained to be a journalist, so I actually wrote for newspapers and did some TV and radio journalism while I was still there. I then swapped to public relations, and I've lived in all the eastern seaboard, capital cities of Australia, and also in Bangkok. And about 7 years ago, I fell for a guy, and he happened. I know. And he happened to live in Rotorua, so I moved to New Zealand, and I've grown to love the Bay. It's amazing to be able to be so close to the beach. I'm a bit of a beach girl. Grew up on Sydney's north beaches and that sort of thing. So I love the beaches. I love the active lifestyle. I've got a fantastic job working for the regional council, and I've got a wonderful team that works under me that have been really supportive and also made me a friend. So I think that the Bay is very friendly and lots of really good opportunities.
Well, I'm from Benaki, and when I was 14 I moved to Auckland to swim. I've always been into my swimming and competitive sports, and competed for New Zealand in surf life saving. When I was about 19 I moved to Sydney from the south. Didn't know anyone over there, but loved it and ended up staying 7 years. And then I moved back to Taranaki because I missed home, but there wasn't enough sunshine. So came here to the Bay. I've been here quite a bit with my surf life saving, and I knew that I'd love it. So came here with my family. I've got 2 little children and we love it. There's awesome beaches. I rode to Whakatane from Tauranga the other day. There's
Bush flight, JP.
a few weeks ago. Yeah, and it was just beautiful. The roads were lovely and the scenery and positive things. I'm around positive people every day. Love it. Being around lots of positive people. You guys are all positive. It's great.
Okay, cool. Now we're going to move on to our second question. This one ties into the first question. So, what were the main opportunities you saw?
Ooh, endless. I guess creating something that doesn't exist before is the biggest one, with getting people excited about marine biology, marine science and careers there. Because I think from what I've seen in growing up, remember back to my school days and things. In fact, when I first went and saw my careers advisor at secondary school, I said, I want to be a marine biologist, and they said, nah, don't be stupid. Yeah, there's no jobs. How many jobs can you get looking at dolphins? And all right, okay, I'll do something else. But I wasn't really happy with that. No, I'm going to get back into this. And what I've observed is that once you set your sights on something, it all happens. And I don't know of any friends who have done their marine biology, marine science type careers who are now out of work. In fact, many of them are doing brilliantly. I've got a lot of friends who are now multi-millionairesses because they've made a discovery and they've created their own biotech company and things like that. So it can take you absolutely everywhere. So yeah, the opportunities here really create some interest. And as I said before, it's the positive people, recognise that straight away, real can-do attitude, anything's possible. And if you can combine, creating a career out of natural resources, but importantly, also at the same time, value them and protect them for the future, that's a legacy that you can leave for other generations, and I can be a part of that. But it requires all of you guys as well, so that's why we're here, working together.
I think there's opportunity in kind of focusing on what we have here and what we're really good at. So, first of all, horticulture. So, everyone's heard of zestberry, right? Kiwi fruit, they export kiwi fruit overseas. Well, Asia is a huge market for kiwi fruit, and I think that, there's lots of potential. I went to Japan last year, and I was looking in the supermarket for some zestberry kiwi fruit, and I found a package of kiwi fruit, 5 kiwi fruit. Guess how much they were selling for? Yes, hands up, hands up. How much?
$10.
No, more.
Oh, 20.
More.
1 for 1.
50.
1 kiwi.
More.
70.
Less.
90.
$65.
Oh.
5 kiwi fruit.
Their money or else.
That's converted to New Zealand dollars. So just if you just look at the price that we can sell things for, like kiwi fruit and avocados for overseas, especially in Asia, because they'll pay really high prices for good products, right? So I think focusing on that sort of thing is really good. Also, we have New Zealand's largest export port. Everyone knows the port of Tauranga, right? So I think if we can sort of get become New Zealand's main port and get the bigger ships coming through, then I think that would be really good as well. And people who say want to study things like supply chain and logistics, can come here and study that sort of thing and then work here. And I think that would be really good as well. Also at the moment they're planning a city centre university campus. And I think it would be really cool to get more young people here. So at the moment, everyone kind of, sees Tauranga as